Hello, internet friends, and welcome to officially session zero of Down Darker Trails. We are playing Call of Cthulhu here on Quests and Chaos. Last episode, we made our characters. We built these marvelous idiots that will no doubt die horrible deaths at some point. We have. Let's see if I can do this. We have Abe Froman Jr., the sausage scion of Chicago. I'm never going to forget that one. We have the the Ivy League educated reporter Elias, who doesn't have who really needs a job, is what we found out. That's we have Nick. What's your prospector's name?
Jared or Jeremy.
Jared or Jeremy.
Fixed it in the. I added it. You guys can
all right,
see
there we go. All right. A grizzled old down on his luck prospector who is sure that if he just gets a little seed money, he can hit it big. You got any seed money? We have Tiana, your federal marshal. What's her name?
Her name is Susanna Deschen.
Susanna Deschen, a hard-bitten law woman who is ready to do what it takes to bring him back. Dead or alive? Question mark? I don't know.
Depends on the circumstances.
You packed your body bag?
There's a lot of desert.
And we have Julie. What is your blacksmith's name?
Johanna Jones, but people call me Jonesy.
Jonesy. There we go. We have Jonesy, the blacksmith, who is surprisingly good with the guns that she fixes up. So that's our cast of characters that we built last time. Session zero is a chance to build connections between the players. It's also a chance to talk about kind of themes and ideas that you want to have as you're playing the game. And it's a chance for the players and the GM to have a few agreements about the kind of game that you want to play. One thing that I want to do before we do anything else is I want to shout out Amy for the amazing graphics and audio that was made for this show. Super good stuff. I mean, it's great. The music is super evocative. The images, the fog is creepy. People are already creeped out by the image. You made my job so much easier. That's outstanding. So thank you for all of that work. And it's, we can't do the in-studio like super great camera work and that sort of thing, but these are just the kinds of production values that Quests and Chaos feels is important and feels really heightens the game. It adds something to the game, and I for me it totally does. Like I hear that music and I'm just in the mindset. I'm gonna have to get like a playlist that I can play before we launch that I can listen to that'll have that. So thank you so much for that. So we have these 5 characters who are all going to be connected, and there's various levels of connection here. And so we're going to have kind of the frame that brings you all together for the story that we're going to tell. But you all have known each other before this, and there are connections between each of you. Imagine the little spider web diagram connecting each of you with a line. And what we're going to do is we're going to a little mechanically is I'm going to ask each of you to tell me about an adventure that you had with somebody else in this group. And you're going to tell me, each of you that are in that adventure are going to tell me a quick, what skill that came into play in that. It can be an occupation. It can be any skill you want. And you're going to get a skill check in that skill right now. So a little bit of advancement. So Tiana, let's start with you.
Damn it.
Another character that you did something with.
I was thinking that I was sent to collar young Mr. Froman at some point. And I say young, we're about the same age, but I think of him as young because he don't know what he's doing out here. And the collaring him and bringing him into a more civilized area involved a little bit of a little bit of rope work. I had to tangle up a couple of people and make it so that they couldn't follow us in a hurry, and then drag the kid onto the back of my horse and take off.
All right, Abe, what skill did you use in this adventure?
Well, here's the thing: is that Susanna actually found me in a brothel, so there was that. So
we're not playing Powered by the Apocalypse. There are no sex moves.
I will leave it to your imagination how that rope was used.
Yeah, I was about to say, quick dress really isn't a skill.
Quick dress. I will let you take a skill check in quick dress if you.
Running, I don't know.
Epic.
Quick dress.
So, geez,
you have like those quick release pants. You just
exactly
Stripper pants.
Oh, chaps. Let's not talk about chaps. So let's see. All of my skills are really just kind of come into play here. But what I mean by all my skills is, no, ma'am, I didn't do it. I'm sorry, ma'am. Oh, ma'am. Oh, hello, ma'am. I mean, if you want to.
So that might be charm. It sounds like.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I was tied up and then taken away, which also Abe's not upset about that either.
Oh no. Are our characters going to be flirting, Amy?
Oh God. I mean,
right,
again.
Tiana, go ahead and roll a skill check in rope use, and Amy, go ahead and roll a skill check in charm.
I'm like, where's my dice?
Hey, you have one inspiration. If you make it, you can re-roll. So again, skill checks are the character advancement in this game. The way it works is if you roll your skill. If you're successful, then you haven't really learned anything. You're already that good. But if you're unsuccessful, you gain a D10 to that skill. So in this, if one were to think metagame wise, one might start to think, I'm going to use a skill that I'm really terrible at. So it looks like charm might have hit there.
Yeah,
it did. She got a 95, so critical fail.
Cha-ching.
I do have to point out these are birds of paradise, and these are easy to read and see. I look over and Amy's like, I see exactly what Amy's rolling. Amazing.
Wonderful. Yeah, I got a 57 out of 25 on that.
All right. So at both, if you fail the check, go ahead and add a D10 to each of those skills.
Of which I got a 9. So I mean, my charm is 89% now. Holy
Wow.
Damn.
Wow. Abe is
Wow.
Abe is a charming young man.
Yeah.
So I would like to go next if
Sure, yeah, do it.
At any moment's notice, Elias is ready to bust this story wide open. And it's just it may come any moment. Anyway, he was investigating radioactive material out in the desert, and he came across an old prospector out by himself, and I don't know what happened. Jared, what happened?
Yeah, what happened, Jared?
Oh, did you find me?
Did a gunfight ensue?
No, I figured out there's certain rocks that I could put in the water to boil the water. And so I was making some stew. And geez, what do you roll for radiation poisoning in this game?
Well, we're gonna find out. So what?
Hopefully, Eli stopped me from actually eating that.
Yeah, this could be a medicine or first aid.
Or survival.
Survival. I would love to roll survival.
All right. So you and Jared, what do you think? What skill for you? Maybe survival as well.
Yeah, it sounds appropriate.
All right. So both of you make a skill check in survival.
90.
Wow.
Oh, 99. Huh.
Oh, sure. Now you guys can't miss a roll.
7.
We are terrible.
Like
Can't make
a
a
1
roll.
on the actual.
Although Nick rolling a 99 is entirely in character.
Yeah, Nick rolling a 99 is not unusual.
So we don't eat the man. It took me a week to finally catch this rabbit.
So,
Do you have any food? I'm so hungry.
I think of my survival. Yes, I have.
Like he catches 2 rabbits in the time you.
I'm gonna have to do some scientific work on this rock, but this is definitely going into my column, The Web of Truth.
The Web of Truth.
New
Nice.
York Post.
Is that what you're calling it?
That's
The
what
Web of
Lucifer Vilchek called it, and I stole it.
I love it. Good job, Lucifer.
The
I
Web
was
of Truth.
using the pot to see during the night, so I didn't have to burn wood. Can I still do that? Can it still work as a
Makes
light
cooking
source?
at night so much easier. Nice. All right, so we've had that means we've gotten Tiana and Thomas have had their adventures. So one of the other 3 of you, who's next?
We're all like, nope.
Jonesy, what do you got? Tell me about your story.
All right. So before I decided to be a blacksmith in this town, I met Susanna. I was when still working as a gunsel for hire. She had me accompany her on one of her runs to make sure that she did not get to shot at. I mean, she's a great shot herself, but she needed some help, so I was there for her.
All right, and so it sounds like maybe this was some gun skill you used.
Yeah, I think that we may. I thought that it would be a dangerous situation to go into. There might be some brigands out there, and I was correct. So we had a wee bit of a shootout.
So what was the name of the gang that you had a shootout with?
The Red Rock Rovers.
Yes,
Red Rock Rovers.
thank you for reminding me.
Of course, always glad to help. But yeah, that I think would be a handgun because I was shooting and riding, so I needed a hand free.
All right, so each of you can make a skill check in handgun then.
All right.
Sweet, 68.
Oh yes, 63. I get it.
All right, so you each add a D10 to your skills.
10.
10. Wow.
Yes.
We are just rolling like crap today.
I am very pleased to add a 10.
I need dice cameras for all of you.
Okay. Oh, okay, Warren.
Sure. Sounds good. Send it over.
Yes, there's.
Could care less. Roll whatever you want. It's not going to help.
It won't save us anyway.
No,
All right,
no, but this is good.
that is the 3rd story. So we still have Abe and Jared.
Yeah, I was thinking, what if it was more, because I would have met you when you were like a kid. What if I bribed you with like candy or something to like tell your father that like investing out like the gold rush was a great idea and that he should pay for a prospector to go out there? So I basically inception him through you to agree. What are your feelings on that?
And here's the best part is I was like, okay, mister. And then I just bought candy with the money.
Yeah, you grifted him.
And then
The
my
early
story,
grift.
to make it worse, is that like 20 years later, I come out of a bar drunk as a skunk and like basically fall asleep next to Jared out just in the street. And then wake up and realize, you know what? This is no way a homeless man should be living. And then invite him into a hotel with me. And then like out of my generosity, have him stay the night.
Ooh, I like.
Exactly. Just insisting all the time and asking him what it's like to live on the streets.
That would be funny if like you have met him like 30 times and you don't remember any of them.
You're the Duchess. You're the Duchess.
That is exactly it. I'm just like, I just keep feeding him, just being like, I just feel such empathy and how he's so strong living out there on his own out in the wilderness and, you know.
I'm
not
just
having a
following you from a
person.
distance. So every so often you're like, oh, you poor man. You give me
Yeah.
stuff.
You have
Oh man, I love that.
You have acquired a hanger on.
That is outstanding. All right, so what skill are you each taking a skill check in?
Dumbness.
Take a
What- now,
penalty
what
die
is-
to intelligence.
What is Parasite on Humanity? Where is
No, that's a
I don't
talent.
know.
That's a pulp talent. That's a.
I was about to say, but I think that also applies in my case.
I think for you, Jared, that's probably like persuade or something like that, or fast
Yeah.
talk or
I
whichever.
mean,
Yeah.
fast talk. I mean, I'm gonna totally make this skill, so there's no point. But sure, I'll roll.
Do it.
All right, Amy, let's see, what could that be?
I made it by 3. Can I
Oh,
spend
man.
luck to not make it to push my?
You know
We
what?
have inspiration. You can re-roll that.
Yeah, we have one inspiration.
Do it.
Come on.
Do
My
it.
skill is 80. That's a waste of inspiration. Someone with a low skill use it.
All
Well,
right.
I mean, are there other skills that would be?
Yeah, if you can think, I mean, you could. I'd accept survival here as your.
Ooh,
not
that's a good one too.
No, what would be the skill for like trailing her or him?
track.
Track. There you go. Track.
That's outstanding. You're just following Abe Froman from town to town, being like, "Please, sir."
Can I have some more?
Out on my luck, helping a veteran out.
Hey, would you have a nickel for a fellow American who's down on his luck?
There you
Oh
go.
God, you're gonna be Ashcan Pete.
Ah!
Okay, am
Oh,
I using the
man.
inspiration on this?
He's totally with his dog. He's totally showing up.
Am I using
right.
the inspiration on that?
Make a track roll. No, you
Make a
change
track
your
roll.
so
Make a track
go
roll.
ahead and take a skill check and track. I think that's better.
Oh yeah, I definitely didn't make that.
All right, you get a D10. Abe, maybe you like. I'm trying to think of maybe spot hidden. Are you?
Yeah,
Do you know what's
okay.
going on?
Sure, because I was going to say everything else is the opposite, because it's the opposite of psychology. It's the opposite of spot hidden, technically.
Now, what's the being blissfully aware of?
Did you make it?
It's an
You
off one.
still got
Birds
the
of
one
paradise.
inspiration.
You got a one.
Yeah, thanks, birds. I got a 1.
Well
Wow.
done. Yeah,
Wow.
let's do that.
Okay.
Oh, so we have more stories to tell still, yes?
I think only Abe has the story.
No, that was my story. Is that
All right, they've decided to intermingle theirs, so I think that's
Yeah,
fine.
because I was the first one when I tried to get her father to invest in me, his father to invest in me, and then the other one is finding me later on.
There we go. Okay. Did
Yeah,
you make
and
it
just-
again?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everybody.
It's okay.
Birds of paradise.
I meant to say, so every year I do Board Game Geek Secret Santa, and this year my BGG Secret Santa sent me an actual D100.
Wow.
That's awesome.
You can bludgeon someone with
It
that.
doesn't stop rolling. I need a dice box for it or something.
Yeah.
like that.
All right. We have some more stories we have to tell still, right?
I think that's everybody. Everybody's told one, right?
Told
Abe?
one about one other person. Yes.
Are we missing one?
I don't think so. Because
Everybody told their one,
yeah, because
Yeah.
Amy joined Jared's.
right? Because those
Yeah.
two came in there. Yeah.
Me to you, you to me. That just
I
leaves
got, to
us.
do, I got to do 2 skill checks. I'm happy.
There you go. So that was sort of the thing that connected, so you all have known each other, sometimes meeting each other for the first time every time you meet, but you've all had that connection, and through various different means, in one case perhaps overwhelming debt, in another a gambling debt, another case sense of duty and obligation, you have all come under the clandestine employ of the Pinkerton Detective Agency. And so the Pinkerton Detective Agency hires groups to go out and investigate things that are going on. Often they have to do with cases, but oftentimes they don't tell you why they're sending you somewhere. They don't feel the need to, the less you know, probably the happier they are. They tend to like for things to be quiet, but they have asked you before to bring people back, or to not bring people back. They have asked you to make sure that people don't come back. You have done both of these things. And so you have all worked together through the Pinkerton Detective Agency. And that's kind of the bond that brings you together, the work there. And so with that, let's talk a little bit about, the kind of game we want to have. This is definitely going, I think, in a pulpy direct. There's, this is going to be a, fist fights on top of trains and things like that. Oh, I like that. It's going to be, especially at the start, fairly low mythos. There will be some stuff. A few themes that I have thought out, and then I want to ask you guys for things that you'd like to touch, but I definitely want to play with the encroachment of man on nature and sort of development and that sort of thing in various different ways, and the enormity of the outdoors, the vast sweeping mesas, the kind of the images that you see in spaghetti westerns of just these huge, canyons and mountain ranges and things like that. Those are images that I'm seeing as I kind of imagine what we're doing and where we're going. Are there themes that you guys are interested in, or things that are already feeling like a real pull for your character?
Yeah, things I'm interested in is things. If I hear about interesting either weaponry or machinery or things like that I keep hearing about, that somebody has some really, really cool gun that can do interesting things, or somebody has a machine that they need to figure out what does it really do. That's the kind of things I'm interested in.
Okay. The D&D person is talking about loot already.
I'm just looking to bust this thing wide open.
Oh God.
The story. It's all about the story.
It's all about the story. It's about breaking the story.
The big one. You know that it's there.
So do you think then that there might be like a journalistic conflict of interest if you're there and part of the story? Does that change, the telling of it?
Oh, I think my my work with the Pinkertons is more of a way for me to get to the story.
Mm-hmm.
Not.
Are you undercover, or are you? Do we know you're a Pinkerton? Do we know you're a journalist?
Oh yeah, I probably don't shut up about it.
Okay.
I was gonna say, can you imagine him being quiet about it? I can't.
Yeah. No, because I'm always like, if you see something, say something. So I gotta help me out here.
It's all part of the web of truth.
So being a Pinkerton is just you being actually employed while you try and find this.
Yeah. It's like,
Exactly.
they're paying me to do what I do anyway. And the paper doesn't pay me unless I write. This is a good gig.
Well, like my actual writing skill, I was thinking of having it be really low.
Or like actual Jackson Elias.
Ah.
I know that none of the rest of you can write worth a damn.
Says, yeah.
I think identity is going to come up for some
Mhm.
reason. I think that'll be a theme.
Yeah, I agree. You know what I mean? So, like I said earlier, that my character has daddy issues. And so again, identity for me is also a thing that comes up. Like, who am I in comparison to my father? But not only that, how does my identity play into, like, have people heard of my father? His name is on the side of every package of sausage.
Yeah.
Well, and the dichotomy of how you feel when that's advantageous to you and how you feel when it's not advantageous. I think
versus am I going to get punched because I'm Abe Froman's kid?
right. And
Sausage
everyone
roll.
knows you've got money.
Well, and I'll join in on the identity thing as well, because we haven't talked about my backup character yet, but identity is going to be a big thing with him.
Mm.
But I think that the whole thing is the crisis of identity. Like with Abe, it's the struggling to define oneself against that massive preconception. I think that'll
Mhm.
be
Finish
interesting
with an
to struggle with, and so
Okay. That you're a junior,
Yeah.
I love the theme of identity, and there are so many cool things that can be done with that.
Yeah.
And I think that also Yeah, that is good stuff.
And if I may, another one that I was thinking of was the sense of community. Because I mean, I grew up in, a small town, me the player, and what always fascinates me is where the wilderness and civilization touch and how that builds that sense of community. Because I've picked up hitchhikers in Fairbanks at 30 below because it was 30 below and they shouldn't be out walking, and been like, you need to get inside. This might put me in some danger, maybe, but I'm more worried about you.
The chat would like to see old mines and ghost towns.
Ooh,
and I would too.
That would be awesome.
There will be old mines.
I have some very good news.
Andrea wants us to go and actually film a game in this ghost town. That's what she wants.
Oh, we've got one nearby. We might as well.
Where?
Yeah. There's one in Arizona too. She's got one there. So our very first session in January, we're going to start playing January 9th. And our very first session is going to be one of the base modules that is in the book, to the extent that I ever actually do anything that's written down. And it is called, I'll give you the, you can make it this way you call it. It's called Something from Down There.
Which is going to Australia.
Isn't it?
Drop bears.
Yes, train scenes. I think there will definitely be. I may or may not have great train robbery written down on in my little thing of bullet points there with the creepy circus. So that's great. Now we've gotten some sense of that. I just want to very quickly remind people, and if you're a GM and you're running a session 0, this is where you want to talk to your players about what kind of game they want and what kind of game you want, because there's nothing more frustrating than the GM and the players playing different games. If I want, relationship heavy drama and you want 5-foot steps, we're going to have a conflict there. And so kind of having a discussion with your players about the sort of game and realizing that everybody needs to kind of meet halfway. And, we can sort of shorthand that because we've all now played together for years, it feels like in many cases. And so, it's a step that we don't need to take as much, but more sort of to illustrate it for anybody who's starting a game. It's a useful conversation to have. And so, I always like to have the players tell me first the things they want. And, you did some of that in your themes, but like, do you guys want to have a game that is based out of a very specific place and you sort of go from there out, or do you want to be itinerant? What is sort of what do you think about that? I lean towards the itinerant personally, just because of the sweeping kind of, we're 4 days out from nowhere going through the mesa and stuff like that. But I'm interested to hear what you guys want.
Yeah, I'll go because I wasn't thinking of itinerancy because of course being a blacksmith, having my place and my town and my things like that, but going someplace and finding something and learning about it, that's awesome. But having a place to come back to that we could all to meet if we get separated, like we'll never get separated, right? We have a place to come back and meet. We have a place that is relatively safe. We have a place where our relatives are, things like that. That's important to me.
Let the record show, I never separate you. You separate you.
True. And in this case, we might get separated like we did between Cairo and Dashur.
You never know. You never know.
Yeah.
You know what? I think that is a good point of having like a town or something where you sort of have a base. The idea that we talked about with the players is that, the backup characters are going to be in the world somehow. And so they're going to, they all are part of the agency of the Pinkertons. The other thing that allows us to do that we're kind of excited about is, if Nick has to miss an episode or two, or if Tiana is once ever allowed to go back to Alaska for any amount of time, we can have a guest star come in and play for 1 or 2 sessions, and they can just, be plugged in from the Pinkertons. So yeah, I think that's a good point about some sort of town. Seth wants to know if they need a backup hometown too.
Yes, immediately.
That's not the worst idea.
What anybody else?
Go back to Colorado.
Yeah, now it's going to be states that you can't go to.
It's St. Paul in Minneapolis. I mean, come on.
Nice. But so what else are you looking for? Like lots of gunfights? Are you looking for, do you want action sequences? Train chases?
I think we'll be pretty good at coaxing you into, like, if there's going to be a gunfight, we'll make it happen. Don't worry too much about that. Like we were talking about how we all actually have social skills this time. So, I mean, I think you'll see more of us trying to shape things, and then it's just how generous are you feeling. We'll let you know, though. I think we'll do stuff to start gunfights if we're feeling bored.
Talking about a balance between, that kind of investigative, let's go look at something, and then, oh no, let's go shoot at something.
Yeah. And I mean, this isn't like an overarching, I want this all the time, but I would love to have at least one, it's high noon type of thing where there's a shootout in the street.
Yeah, some suspenseful standoffs sound.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't need to be like all over the place, but you got to have a couple. I mean, Old West.
I mean, it's quintessential. You have to have the moment where, the two people square off in the street.
Yeah.
Especially, when there's a marshal. I think that's great. That's good stuff. We'll be using the same safety tool, the X card. As always, it's there. If something happens and it, for whatever reason, is making you uncomfortable, you can just throw down the X card and that scene is going to end. And we will, we don't need to know why or what about it was not you were not loving. It's a complicated thing, but using the X card in a scene you're not in is something that you really want to be careful with. But yeah, Nick.
Sorry.
But it's there. It's there for the comfort and safety of everybody at the table, because everybody belongs at this table, and everybody belongs at a table they feel comfortable at. And the X card does not delete anything. It just ends that scene and we move on. We move forward.
So I have a quick question. Have we all done, so by the time we get into our next game, have we all done a job together?
Yeah, you've been you have done stuff together, not just those old, you've all interconnected over the last, probably 6 or 7 years. And it's only been fairly recently that for most of you, the Pinkerton stuff has been formalized. And so you get a lot of like, all right, go to this place and do this. And you're very used to the Pinkertons, like giving you the bare minimum of what you need to know. And at least one of them has gone thoroughly pear-shaped, as you showed up somewhere and it turns out that there was like a huge gang that was like just waiting for you, that sort of thing. Yeah, anybody else have any questions or any ideas they want to throw out as we're kind of...
We totally need to do, like you were talking about, bar, gambling, things like that. I think that would be fun. I would love to get that stuff done.
Riverboat gambling has to happen at some point.
Yes.
Our headquarters has to be like there has to be a saloon that's a cover for our headquarters.
Nice. That's pretty good. Yeah, you have like a back ride of you have the back room of a saloon or something. I like it.
I was gonna say, this isn't a cover. This is where I live.
Yeah.
Let's not get uppity about this.
Abe owns.
Abe, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
That saloon.
There we go.
Depending on, if it's a small enough town, like literally things just pop up as you kind of have them. And there can be all sorts of, conflict of somebody wants to strong arm in on the town and you've got your thing. One theme that I really want to play around with is that there's going to be mythos stuff, but there's also going to be a lot of like just dealing with people stuff, and they may or may not be cultists and that sort of thing. And so there will be more mundane things that you're dealing with as well. When we're playing for the viewers, when we're playing modules that are written material and not just stuff I'm making off the top of my head, we're going to make sure that you know what we're playing. So like with session 1, we'll call it something from down there, just so like what module we're playing. And as we play through games that have titles, we'll make sure you know those, and each of those is going to be kind of its own chapter. And so we'll have we'll have various chances for a sort of a new beginning where people can come in and we're starting a story kind of fresh from there.
Nick actually just put in our chat that your saloon can be called the Silver Bullet Saloon.
Nice.
I like it.
Because of werewolves. And Elias, that would have been the reason he came to the town. He's like,
he's looking for werewolves.
Call the saloon the Silver
Perfect.
Bullet Saloon, unless there's a reason for Silver Bullet.
Perfect.
All I'm going to say is Jack Mackerel is kind of reading my mind. He's got a sense of some of the themes that are coming up here. I just like I wanted the saloon to be called the Sausage Fest.
Unfortunately,
Yeah,
it
well.
probably is.
I think did we miss anything here in making our connections in our session 0? Is there anything that people are feeling that needs to be brought together before next time?
Well, I guess some of it for me is that I don't feel like I've gotten connections to everybody. Are we going to play through those?
So yeah, I think we'll start as we get the Pinkerton thing going. We will have you'll get connections to everybody.
Can I actually ask a question though, if
Yeah.
we have a couple minutes, if that's okay? Because
Sure.
Jonesy and I didn't get to interact, but the way Abe greets everybody is that everything is easier with honey than vinegar. So Jonesy, I got this broken gun. Well, and just trying not to essentially say that I broke it because I don't know what I'm doing. And I do one of the classic Abe. So can you fix it? I mean,
Right.
how fast can you fix it for me? Because so how do you react to my sort of charm? Because I charm everybody. That's
Right,
just it.
right.
So I'm just like, you could put mine ahead of everybody else's. What do you think?
You got the cash?
Oh, yeah, of course I do. Got it. All right.
All right, we have a deal.
Here's
There
a
you
little
go.
something. Okay.
I still want Andrea. I still want a version of the Great Dane logo with the dog wearing a 10-gallon hat.
I'm begging you, this needs to happen.
Yes.
I want to get coasters made of that.
I want the hat to be tiny though.
It's not a 10-gallon then. That's like a 5-gallon.
No, it's got to have the bandana around the neck.
Oh, that's good too. Yeah.
Yes.
The Great Dane Banditos, the Great Dane Posse.
The Great Dane Posse. There we are.
Just imagine it with the bandana along right there, like little puppy bandana. Okay.
I like the Great Dane Posse. I like that. That's
Great Dane Posse. That is the worst rap album ever.
no. That would be epic. Come on.
A group name will come or organically, and if it's some version of Great Dane, whatever, that's awesome. We have a long and storied history of that, but the cilantro dumpling gang.
we just have to let people know what to talk, where to talk about things in the Discord. That's all.
There we go.
So it will all stay Great Dane Society. So the podcast, that feed is going to stay the Great Dane Society podcast. So we're going to stick with that as a sort of like Great Dane Society, Down Darker Trails, etc.
I like it.
Yeah.
I think that's like it. Plus, it's easy for me when I write the updates. Just say the Danes,
Yeah.
nice shorthand.
Yeah.
Did we, Thomas and Amy, did we miss any of the bookkeeping stuff? I think so January 9th, is going to be our first episode. We will be tanned and rested and ready. And we're going to start with something from down there, which is the adventure that is in the back of the book. And then from there, we'll see where we go. And we'll have, this crew to start with, and we'll be, people will come in and out on short-term bases. Some people from other Quests and Chaos games might pop in every once in a while. Could be fun. And yeah, I think that's just about, again, anybody, if the chat has any, I like that actually. Lucer Vilcek suggested the Great Desperados.
That
But I
means
think
Desperado Society, yes.
We're keeping the Great Dane Society, but we can move it around every time. We can change it. Yeah, I think.
Oh wait, Tom's just gotta find. Hang on. I was like, we need 2 more minutes of vamping.
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve. We got to plug our New Year's Eve.
Oh yeah.
Tiana, Amy, James, and myself will be playing.
Click the buttons.
Probably finishing the
Pandemic Season 0.
That's
Not the real pandemic,
Yeah.
the fake one.
We don't have that kind of power, but if we did, we'd be in the studio right now doing it.
We should be winning more than losing.
Yeah.
Surprise.
That is
For the
that is
moment.
impressive. I still, someday I'll get to play my copy.
One of these days. May I talk about redacted reports?
Please.
Excellent. So the redacted reports is live on Spotify, iTunes, all of the good all of the podcast places that you usually find podcasts. It's live with session 0. We're going to be releasing the first 3 episodes on Wednesday, the 23rd, which I am very excited about. This has been a long time in the coming, and I am pleased to tell the story to our friends.
Sweet.
And join the Discord so that you can find out more information.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's a whole Discord channel around it.
Mm-hmm.
And then
You
Ezra,
can start
also-
connecting the dots in Discord.
Yep. And then Ezra, you also had an interesting conversation with.
I forget his name. I watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
It was
So,
a really great interview.
He's a
Eugenio
crack
Vargas he's awesome. He's the storyteller for Into the Motherlands, which is a sci-fi RPG that they're literally creating the system as they're running the game. And so he actually has game developers. He tells the story about how during the game, a game developer's that's not the name of that planet, or so, he's and so there's a really interesting kind of dichotomy of building the plane while you're flying it, but telling the story. I really enjoyed it. So I'm starting a podcast where I'm talking with game masters I know about game mastering and talking about their experiences, talking about how you run different games differently. One of the things I'm really interested in and that I talk with folks about is how do you choose a system to tell a specific story? Because some GMs only run one system. There are, and I mean, some of it's because they're D&D GMs, and that's just not anything we're ever going to be able to help. But some of it is because people feel like this system tells the kind of story that I want to tell very well. In particular, I have a couple episodes coming up. I'm going to go every other week in January with people who run a lot of the Powered by the Apocalypse games. And those in particular, because there's so many varieties of it, but B, because something in the GMs, those very specific, I want to tell this story, so I'm using this system. It's really neat. So the podcast is called Keep the Game Moving, and you can find it on YouTube. And it is as lo-fi as my incredibly lazy preparation style wants. But I'm really excited to be I'll be. Thomas has already said he'll come and sit down and we'll talk about GMing, and Bo has graciously agreed. I would love to talk to Tiana. We've talked to Tiana as a new GM, what it was like to run games. Really, you were kind of thrown into the pool and taught to swim, and I think that's a really interesting conversation.
Thrown into the deep end where my very first time DMing was on a live stream. That was, I'd love to come and chat about that.
Well, there you go. Nick, do you have anything to plug? Will you be at the Laugh
Anything
Factory?
for the holidays?
That's actually a good ending note. Let's wish everybody a safe and happy holiday, whatever that means to you. I know, we are not going to see any family. It's going to be Rachel and I eating way too many tamales. We've already, a local taqueria is doing a tamale fest.
That sounds like an oxymoron. Are you sure you can eat too many?
I aim to find out, sir.
Excellent.
We have
Report back.
tamales coming.
Nice.
But find a way to connect with your family and friends during this time, and do something for your, do something to like keep your sanity. It's important, and the light at the end of the tunnel is here, and hopefully it's not a train.
And if it is, it's another Cthulhu episode.
Well, I will figure it out.
Right. Yeah, you had it all.
Happy holidays to all of you glorious idiots. You all make my life so much better. And I was thinking about this the other day, that like I have not habitually been the kind of, like, during the pandemic, I have not wanted to reach out. Like, I've stopped going to our virtual game nights because I'm just not feeling it. But every week and every day on the Discord, this community is an anchor that keeps me from losing whatever hope I have. And so seeing you every Saturday and playing games with you every Saturday has been a gift throughout this entire shelter in place, and being part of this community has been a gift. And so happy holidays, internet friends.